live. So I'll say indeed and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Plugging in my microphone now, fighting the wind noise a little bit. There we go. Should be a little bit better. Nice having you here. Today's stream topic is about how we ought not to fix what isn't broken. Weirdly enough, unfortunately, my day started off with something unironically being broken. One of those little transfer pipes.
Unironically being broken.
One of those transfer pipes, the ones that go from the wall into the faucet, split and burst. So the entire kitchen was underwater this morning. And yeah, I had to try and figure something out there. And I feel like weirdly enough, this topic of fixing what's broken, fixing what's not broken, in large part kind of extends to our world as well. Right? Like the way that I'm thinking about it right now specifically is in this attempt to fix other people, one, right? Where we have this idea in our mind of someone else's brokenness, and then there's some sort of savior complex that formed in us that allows us to try, at the very least, to help another person, right? From that point of trying to fix them. And I don't know if that's right specifically. And then thinking about it from the perspective of looking at the world, where I find myself as a character, I guess, fascinated slash obsessed with this idea of helping the world. Saving the world is another way to articulate it, right? And I'm trying to, at least in my own way, bring it into my mind that the world doesn't need saving, right? That from this perspective, the world is not broken per se. Systems may be broken, right? Ways of treating people may be broken, communities may be broken, but the world isn't broken, right? Not technically. And if I can understand that intrinsically, maybe I can give myself some calm. It's a blessing having you friends here. I see Shannon and Nana, Lisa too, even Connor, blessing us with his presence today, and Joy Vive as well. Blessings. So many blessings to all of you friends. Thank you for joining me. Love, love, love you. Unfortunately, and it's probably just bad design slash retrofitting, the place in which that pipe burst has open wires behind it. So I got shocked this morning. And I feel like ever since that shock, I've been in like this weird liminal space. Wonder what your body thinks, right? Because technically, getting mildly electrocuted isn't something that happens, right? Not regularly, at least on a biological level. Maybe you get hit by a piece of by lightning as a caveman, but I can't imagine any other circumstances on a biological level where we get to experience electric shocks. And then going through an electric shock like that, I wonder how my body registers. Apparently, the Egyptians were playing with electricity as well, but they weren't powering things with it. At least from this one video that I saw, they were just shocking themselves, right? They would electrocute themselves. Like there's a whole video that goes into how they were like creating like barrier separations, so that they could actually be separate from like the static field they were creating, and then they would zap the person sitting on the chair essentially, by applying this, shape to the tip of their nose or whatever. And I wonder, is there a way to electrocute ourselves right? Right, like that's where my mind's going. Is it possible for us to fix something in the self by applying electric current to that body part? It's all a dream. It's not real. You're still passed out from the shock. No, stop. Stop it. Maybe I'm dead. Maybe like I died. Because technically, I was supposed to be, right? Like that's what happened in my mind after I received the electric shock. Because I took my sandals off And, you know, because of like all of the water spewing, they were like towels trying to be patched up, catching all of the water. And I was standing with my bare feet on said soaked towels when I received said electric shock. So I was like going through this mindset of like, shit, bro. I'm like so grounded right now. If I get electric shocked, I'm probably going to be a really good, you know, transfer of energy. So maybe this is, you know, world 2.0. Maybe I'm in a new life right now. There's a version of me that got wrecked today. Isn't that like, it feels kind of sad. You just imagine, right? There's no stream today because I got electrocuted trying to fix a water leak, right? It's like, wait, it's like, what? What now? Oh, I'm happy to be here with you, friends. I do feel meh. I feel like, but I'm here, right? And that's what matters. Showing up despite the miss you, tuners. Bless. I hope you've been doing well and school is going good. I think he's done, right? You're done, Connor. Isn't that right? I'm so grateful. You're okay. Thank you. Bless, Shan. Hope you all have been well, been kind of checked out lately. I will definitely be checking in more often. Any moment that you can spare, you will be appreciated and celebrated, dear friend. Electric shock therapy is a thing. Oh, I know. I just wish for more data, right? That's where my mind's going because eventually we'll electroshock therapy ourselves, you know, with like direct wires in our own brain. And apparently, I want to like massive asterisks. Apparently, we could potentially cure depression, tinnitus. You know, that's the one that I'm keeping my eyes on. We could cure a bunch of mental disorders by applying electric shocks, right? And I think about it from the perspective of since we're already technically electric beings, right? Like, sure, we're biology, but our biology communicates with itself through electron channels. Right, your central nervous system sends electrical signals to your muscles. One thing that you can do to really become aware of this, like my favorite pose to do, is you lay on your back and then you arch your head forward, you lift your arms up and you lift your legs and you basically like curl yourself up and then you let your core do all of that work. And then you'll notice how your brain is sending a certain frequency of signal to your muscles to remain in that contracted position. Right? It's like a zzz, 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 zzz. And I wonder about the inverse of that, right? I was like thinking about how eventually I'm going to have biosensors implanted in my body and how I would like to be able to get an output from that and then be able to share that, right? I don't know why I want to share that. Maybe I could, you know, like map it to psychedelic visuals or something, you know. The harder I struggle, the more psychedelic things become. Have a whole yoga room platted in screens. In case you can wear pair of goggles as well. You don't have to go screens. I'm diving too deep into this. Melt therapide. Therapide? Is that a word? Hey Google. I guess it's just therapide. It's the electric shock, okay? It's not me. I got electric shocked. Hey Nancy, bless to you. 10 units are like the same thing. Tens units are like the same thing, aren't they? TENS units. I don't actually know that, unfortunately. I've never had that because my depression was never bad enough, but I have been electrocuted a bunch. I did technically do the research, right, in thinking about how I'm going to talk about this. I don't think I actually got electrocuted because electrocuted is either death or extreme injury, right? And I got off unscathed. I just got for like 200 milliseconds or whatever. It was enough for me to scream. Like I screamed. I screamed so hard. Like the yes, fuck. What the? Oh, that would be sad. We wouldn't know what happened to you. That's the worst part, Joy Vive. That is the worst part. Right? Fortunately, my family knows my passwords on my devices and my YouTube accounts are logged in. I wonder if they would do that for you, friends. Just be like, yeah, he died. I'm sorry. That's a big yikes. Oh fuck, I don't want that. A digital version of me has to be alive before I die. I I vow this. I shall not dead until there's another version of me that gets to continue living indefinitely. I shoved a paperclip in a light socket when I was a kid. I never did that. That I never did. I did, however, uh, like I feel South Africa is kind of like late to the punch. So we had those plugs, like our plugs are these three-pronged plugs, right? So there's a ground plug up top and then two electrical plugs on the sides, right? And they kind of like point out like that, attached to like a little base. And what would happen sometimes is as you're like trying to unplug a plug, you would try and like shimmy your fingers underneath the socket to get more grip on it. And then you would make contact of those little prongs. And I got electrocuted twice that way. I remember, and weirdly enough, I did think about this story very recently. And it might be a hallucination, it might be my vivid imagination, but I still, to this day, believe that's exactly what happened, right? So that is the preface. Uh, I was told to unplug a bouncy castle pump. Is it called a pump? Blower? I don't know actually. We had a bouncy castle at this family gathering, and I was told to turn it off because we're going to have a meal, and you don't want that sound while you're eating or whatever. And when I went to unplug it, I, made contact of those little poles, and I promise, I do promise, because I could see it in that moment. I could see my skeleton. I could I could literally see my skeleton getting shocked. And then I'm like, I run up to my family and I tell them about this. And they're like, no, fam, that doesn't, nope. You're watching too many cartoons, I was told. Can't see your skeleton while getting electrocuted. Damn it, I still believe I saw my skeleton. And I was like thinking about that recently. I was like, bro, maybe I actually did, right? Maybe applying an electric current to my body allowed me to see things, beyond the ordinary. Maybe. And then it starts fascinating me. It's like, oh, what if we can control that? What if I can apply electric current in a specific way so that I could gain specific superpowers? They also do these magnetic like helmet resonating things, where they like run a bunch of current through electromagnets, and then they help you with depression as well. I don't know if you've heard about those, Zana. I got acupunctured in my third eye with my Kairos weird electronic acupuncture device the last time I went to get an adjustment, and it did weird things, you guys. I do want to do acupuncture as well. Like, I've heard good things, and apparently it's a thing, right? So getting your third eye electro acupunctured, that sounds like the next level of hardcore cyberpunk acupuncture. ECT causes you to lose chunks of your memories. So I wouldn't rush into getting ECT if I was you. Oh, hot damn. Yeah, rather not. The people that I know that have had ECTs done say that it helps, but it's only temporary. Yeah, it's like a band aid, probably solution. I don't know if that's the best. Again, lovings to you, Shell and Sam and Zano. Blessings to all of you. I see Loazana here too, and Brother Dan as well. Sending all of you friends lovings. I don't think TENS is like ECT. Mr. Shell's mother was given extensive ECT. I have TENS machine. TENS is like a shock applied on the outside. I actually don't know. Joy Vive, that is absolutely correct. I was given a ton of ECT about 20 years ago, and my memory has been absolutely fucked ever since, long term and short term. How about that, right? Instead of getting superpowers, you just get bad memory. That kind of sucks ass. I mean, how it uses electricity. I didn't word that very well, but I had one, but let my dad borrow it. I loved it. Maybe like it's a muscle stimulator or something. What up, peanut butter knife? Bless again. Melt fam, I'm here, but I'm lurking while I do some house chores. Bless to you, brother Dan. Thank you for getting some stuff done, man. I'm talking about Michelle. I'm always leaving peanut butter knives out in the sink. I rarely do that, right? Even though to my mom's dismay, I lick the knives, get all that peanut butter, eat it up. I even lick sharp knives. I know I'm not supposed to, but I haven't cut myself yet, right? I've lived 25 years licking knives and I've never cut myself. So maybe there's like a certain level of hubris, confidence in myself. It ain't broke, right? Yeah, I keep it stream relevant. It ain't broke, so why fix it? Oh, so much love is being sent. It's nice having you friends here. Let me read something worth saying. It's been a while since we actually have. You know, I feel like this is actually perfect. It starts on the other page, but I already know this one. Um, it's technically about death again. Maybe I did die. Let's read it. I will enter into this transition called death with deliberate consciousness. I will make sure, beginning now, that I carry no resentment, that I have forgiven everyone of everything, and as the body does enter that state, I will release the world and require nothing of it. Right? That feeling, that underlying understanding that is being communicated through that thing we're saying is what I'm trying to touch at with today's stream topic. Not fixing what ain't broke. Right? Requiring nothing of it, of your relationships, requiring that they don't have to be one way instead of another. Forgiveness is forgiveness of oneself forever, allowing delusion to settle into one's own mind. Beloved friends, come to understand at this point the true immensity of who you are and what you are. Understand that you are not so much dealing with things in the world as you are dealing with patterns of energy that reflect in some way what is in your consciousness. Right? Like, oh, this thing is broken. No, what is being reflected is something inside your consciousness, an egoic understanding of how things ought to be, a hope for something better potentially, right? Not labeling it as evil or bad, but just again becoming aware. Understand that you are not so much dealing with things in the world as you are dealing with patterns of energy that reflect in some way what is in your consciousness. Yeah, exactly. I wish I was made up of nanites, little self-replicating machines. Then I'd be able to fix things, right? Literally by thinking about it. Think about fixing something and parts of my body, like a small sublayer of my skin, gets removed and those little robots go and fix whatever it is I'm thinking about. Mr. Shell, he's doing it wrong and needs to lick the knife. A TENS unit is a device that uses electric current to activate nerves in order to decrease pain. How about that? Does it work? I'm guessing, since you're missing it. He needs to lick both sides of the knife shell up to the handle. Why? Why the handle though? Like, or maybe like some people, I've seen this happen actually. Some people have no chill, right? Like when they use the peanut butter jar, they'll get peanut butter like on their fingers and on the knife handle as well. My OCD, right, instantly thinks that there's something broken. It's like, no, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Stop it. I haven't bifurcated my tongue just yet, so I'm gonna keep on licking. Exactly. And if I do bifurcate my tongue, then I'll have one of those little slit tongues, right, where people can like squeakity squeakity. Have you seen that? Have you actually seen that in real life? I've seen that in real life. It still melted my brain seeing people with split tongues. The fact that you can teach your brain how to use that single muscle independently. Human beings are crazy, yo. I don't think I'll ever split my tongue. I like snakes as much as the next person, but yeah, see, I don't think I like them that much. Thanks, Shan. Shan, thanks for explaining that. The Slender Tone Company sells tens as fitness devices. They actually work. I mean, they do contract your muscles. That is true, right? I've seen those. Like the thing that I'm kind of stuck with is, even though I get slender is supposed to mean thin and being toned is also technically being, healthy or thin. But slender tone, unfortunately, instantly attaches to slender man in my mind, right? So I cannot I cannot associate with that company. Really, Shell, I've always wondered if they actually work. They do contract your muscles, but if you're not going to pay attention to your diet or anything like that, it's gonna be inconsequential. There were girls in my high school with split tongues. They had reputations. I mean, honestly, Sam, honestly, like for real, while I was talking about it just now, I was thinking, what would it feel like to make out of a person that has a split tongue? Right? What would it feel like? Would it be uncomfortable? Would it be nice? I think it would be so odd that my brain might just get melted. The thing that I'm gonna stuck on is the fact that that's a possibility, right? Like that's something you can do in this world. Oh goodness. How should I have him deal with the peanut butter fingerprints on the fridge? Oh my goodness. Yeah, he needs to sleep outside. Like I'm just imagining you walking into the kitchen and there's like a peanut butter knife with like peanut butter all the way up to like, 3/4 of the way of the knife. And then the peanut butter jar, like, I don't know, it's still open. And then peanut butter on the handle of the fridge door. And you're walking into that kitchen, instantly losing your mind. It's like, yeah, shit's broken, yo. And now I'm gonna break more things. I'm gonna start breaking fingers. I'm gonna break hearts, break people's minds. I want to manifest a certain kind of life in a way that's an extension of the life that I have now, but of a different view, if that makes sense. So I'm going to bounce for now and follow a feeling. Bless you, Nancy. We look forward to you returning and letting us know if you're feeling paid off. Are you guys putting peanut butter in the fridge? That's what I was going for as well. We didn't put peanut butter in our fridge, but some people do. My kids were terrified of Slender Man a few years back. They couldn't sleep. Rightly so. Slender Man is really fucking creepy, yo. He's faceless. Not having a face, not okay, yo. Humanoid. I get that. Not having a face though, but still sees you, right? What does it look with? How does it see me? Does it hear me? Does it smell me right now? Can it sense me? Instantly, too many questions. Of course, kids would have nightmares. Oh, yeah, smell. The TENS unit feels good. So, I first experienced the TENS unit as physical therapy. I'd ask the therapist to make it stronger. That sounds pretty relatable. I watched someone get their tongue split, and I currently live with them. Brandon has his tongue split? Oh, goodness. You watched it? No. How? I would not. I would look away, right? Like, and this is like weird for me. Like that's too weird for me even. Like for instance, if I get my blood drawn or I donate blood, I watch them insert the needle inside my body, right? I find comfort in being able to witness. I do not look away for that. But watching someone else get their tongue cut in half, mm-mm-mm. My eyes will not witness that information. I cannot. uh, you were you weren't scared for your life. I mean, I would be. I think it would feel chaotic to make out of someone with a split tongue, right, JV? Right? That's where my mind goes as well because I know what it's like to make out of someone. I mean, I'm trying to paraphrase. I haven't kissed someone in years, so I'm like trying to like reference what it was like, right? And I remember specifically there being one point to the tongue as something familiar. Now suddenly there's two, right? And they can move independently of each other. Do you do that? Like I'm going too deep into this, aren't I? I'm traumatizing myself. Please stop. Oh, please stop. Let's move on. You make stern eye contact with the man while he makes his next sandwich. You watch his hands, and you frown with a Snape-like intensity when he does not clean up after himself. Yeah, I've just heard too many fights, right, between my mom and my dad to do shit like that. Like it's also like trauma response. Like when I make things dirty, I have to make sure they're like, and you can't just put it in the sink. It has to be on the left side of the sink. One of the sinks always has to be completely empty, right? Like if you put a freaking licked clean peanut butter knife in the empty sink, you're gonna get it though. You're gonna get some information. We went to a tat convention and he had no tattoos or body mods. And then all of a sudden he decides to split his tongue. It was a wild watching it happen. Like the thing that my mind goes into is thinking about splitting your tongue and then imagining an OR, right? An operating room. Like I want to go to the hospital. I want to, if I, start bleeding to death, I want people to be able to freaking jump in and, I don't know, sew me back together or whatever. Going to a tattoo convention. Now I'm imagining a tent, a tent. Like how do they do that? Do they put like a thing through your tongue with like a thin wire and then it like, or do they like actually? No, that's so too fucked up. Hey, Auntie, it's nice having you here. We're triggering ourselves a little bit. We're talking about don't fix what ain't broke, and yet I don't know, right? Are you fixing something by splitting your tongue? Do you think your tongue is broken as is? Technically, you can, right? Apparently, you can paralyze your tongue by splitting it in half like that, but that's like the horror story side of it. The other Sam option is just to make a full ass scene out of it if he doesn't forget again. But that route leads to other problems, so maybe don't do this one. Yeah, that's the one that apparently seems to be most popular, depending on which household you find yourself in. I hope you have a beautiful experience. Bless. The jam is in the refrigerator. The jam is. We have some jam in the refrigerator. I had to like reference for a second. Joe, what? He just decided on a fucking whim? Who does that? An insane person, right? Someone that is completely unhinged. No doubt. Oh, no doubt. Oh, I'm gonna, you know, split my tongue in half because I felt like it now. Like that feels like something you have to like spend months deliberating, right? Being like, pros and cons, right? What would this mean for my life? How would it affect the food I eat? Would I taste the same? Would I use my tongue to hold joints? My brain is losing its tits right now. It's like, please don't split my tongue. I'm not splitting my tongue, dude. Relax. I might get titanium bones and teeth, but no splitting of tongues. My body is okay with that. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. Fine. Get titanium teeth, but no splitting tongues though. I like my tongue in one piece. I feel like it might mess with my way of speaking as well. Like I think that might be the biggest thing, right? Maybe I just sound differently all of a sudden, right? Maybe I'll speak like a snake or something, slithering constantly. I would lose my mind. I would like, I'm never speaking again, actually, right? And then people are like, why is that guy so quiet? And then I sit there in the corner with my split tongue and I'm like, oh, he's insane. He's batshit crazy. Good to know and stay far away from him. Lamar Joy, I wouldn't know what that feels like, but seeing it still throws me off sometimes. I can't even imagine. I go like the few times, like the one time I saw it was with almost like, how can I explain this? Like a place where people come together. It was like a family get-together place, and there was another group of kids there. Not really kids, maybe like late teenagers. And then one of the girls had her tongue split, right? Like I remember kind of like walking into this group conversation and talking to these people and then spotting something in that woman's face. And then I'm like, what the fuck did I just see? And then she sticks her tongue out and then moves those little bits individually. And I was like, anti-satana. Whoa, that's quite a leap from someone with no tattoos or body mods, Joe. A convention like that would be so awesome to go to. I only have 1 or 3 dermal anchors left. The other 2 fell out. Hey Google, what are dermal anchors? I know dermal means skin.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Dermal anchors are known as single point piercings, anchor jewelry underneath a layer of skin. Unlike other types of body piercings, such as earrings or navel piercings, dermal piercings don't have an exit point. The more you know. The more you know this conversation. I feel like it's so appropriate, right? Because it fits in a weird niche of what we're talking about today. Don't fix what's broken. You're not technically fixing anything, right? And you're not technically breaking anything. You're just changing things. Piercings and split tongues and tattoos. Yeah, it's so unhinged. If you want more details, I can give them, but they're yikes. Please, I want all the details. I do. Give me details. Uncle! No, Duck Dad is here. There we go. My Wi-Fi is no longer working. I was just saying happy birthday, Duck Dad. Thank you for being willing to spend a moment of your time here with us on your birthday. Sending you blessings, bro. I hope it's a beautiful one. Again, I do want more details, Joe. Oh my, that's why I got my tat there. Wanted to get dermals, but they were pricey and not guaranteed to stay in. Yeah, since they have no anchoring point. That probably does make sense. I just shared this fractal with him. He denies everything and smirks like Bruce Willis. I guess you're gonna have to shoot at him with guns. I think Bruce Willis is probably one of the most getting shot at actors, you know. I just stopped at an old-timers nursery on a whim, and there is a many $1,000 greenhouse that he wants to sell me for $500. Happy birthday indeed, my friends. Weren't you manifesting a greenhouse for yourself, Duck Dad? And you were talking about how they're ridiculously expensive? Sprinkle some synchrony. I'm so happy for you, bro. Happy birthday indeed, man. Happy birthday, Duck Dad. That's so cool, Joe. Yeah, they can fall out, but I think there's different kinds that can go deeper, or a part that's under the skin designed differently so that they are more secure. I don't know if I'm down for piercings, right? I've thought about getting an earring, but I don't think I'd actually be able to rock it. And then the implications of getting stuff shot through my skin, right? The potential for infection just doesn't really tickle my fancy that much. Having to clean them, having to buy new earrings again. The fact that your body, if you use like cheap materials, will literally rust / dissolve the metals you put in your body. That's a whole trip. I'm driving. Everyone accepted this as a thank you for your very fullness of my heart for the happy birthdays. Life has been better since I found you all. Bless, Duck Dad. I couldn't say it better myself, man. There is some wind going on right now. I can see, like, despite the little windshield and my attempts to help, the microphone is still getting wrecked. Oh, I'm trying harder. That's so cool, Joe. Yeah, they can fall out, but I think I've read that one already. Love again. The world is smiling upon you. Thank you, Joe Schmo, for echoing love to Duck Dad as well on his happy birthday. He had a lisp during the healing. People cried in my town when they saw it because they thought he was the devil. His mom was pissed. He says it's like being able to control an extra digit. Yeah, it quite literally is, right? I think apparently your tongue is the strongest muscle in your entire body by weight to strength ratio. So splitting it in half, you know, does technically give you a new limb. or a new digit, right? Like, you know what I would do? I would just have my mouth closed and then move those two little bits. My brain, stop. I'm not doing it, brain. Relax. So you can come down. Happy birthday, Doug. So much lovin's. Yeah, our internet, yo. I don't know what's happening right now. I don't think there's any malicious, intent, at least at this point. But unfortunately, my comments are not showing up because of internet problems as well. We're running on data. We still got some data left, at least, to touch your screen. Lovin's is being sent to our Josh, our dog dad. The ocean was flat like a lake yesterday, barely a ripple. I meant to take pictures, but was overtaken by the serenity. I just floated on my back for what felt like hours. Rare ocean stillness. Sprinkle that manifest. Get it, dude. We're getting mid 80s Fahrenheit weather this week, and it was actually nice and cool this morning. Yeah, we are already in the getting close to 100 Fahrenheit territory here in South Africa again. I cannot sleep without my fan on. That's how I know. Yeah, it's summer. Needing to have a fan running directly on your body to just stay mildly cold. Giant man held down and grabbed his tongue. Skinny guy took a needle of lidocaine injection straight through the tongue, like horizontally. The whole needle. Then Quick took a scalpel to it. The most time was spent stitching it back up. And then the muscles were in shock, so they wiggled like stray tentacles. I'm so happy that you did share that information. Weirdly enough, even though that's horrifying, it gives me a sense of, So they do stitch it back together, right? Like bleeding to death from your tongue, choking on your own blood. That's where my mind goes. It's like, choking on your own blood. That doesn't sound like a vibe. So they cut it in half and then they like stitch it like that or something. The little spasms of your tongue being like, what the fuck's happening? That's a bit of a yikes, but I'm gonna stop thinking about it. I don't hear any wind. Fantastic. The microphones are working as intended. I know I've expected this already, Joe, but what in the fuck? Yeah, exactly. That feeling doesn't go away. Thank you for sharing that, Joe, but I didn't know. The more we do, Daniel Matthews, what do you spend most of your free time doing? Most of my free time is actually spent absorbing information, bro. And that varies, anything from educational. Most of my time these days are actually spent looking at technological development, right? Like a part of my brain gets this sense of trajectory, right? When I look at technology being developed around the world, in different countries, different patents coming out, different lab results, being made public. And it makes me feel like there is this sense of progress and acceleration happening towards, a renewable future. I spend a lot of my time doing that. I play games these days a little bit more. I have actually tried playing a little bit more games just to get that sense of, I guess, control, right? Sometimes it can be a little bit brutal, not feeling like you have any control over this world. So we channel that energy into controlling our game character. I'll watch culturally relevant TV shows, right? I feel like there's a certain level of information to be gained, not only about yourself, but about where we are in society as a whole by paying attention to what is popular right now. Yeah. I meditate, I exercise. I feel like I could be more interesting, but at this point in time, I find myself kind of like a hermit lifestyle, living on a farm. That is soon to change. It's nice having you here, Daniel Matthews. Have I seen your name before? Maybe, but it's just been too long. Maybe you're Daniel. I know a Daniel, right? But it is Daniel G, so not Matthews. I've been a sorcerer this year. It's been a scorcher this year. Record heat for September. It really is wild. Now that I'm thinking of it, there was so little blood. I think that's the most shocking part to me. I mean, this is fucking me up as well. I'm sorry. Alright, you have these veins at the sides, so maybe if you cut between them, you're not actually piercing any veins. This is it's making me more yikes the more I think about it. Okay, I think our internet is back on. At least on this side, it is. The wind is like just got hit by something else. Yeah, our Wi-Fi isn't working. I think it's probably like wind, you know, like messing things up or something. I just squealed at Joe's story. Koji jumped and hit his head on the bottom of the stove. I'm sorry, Koji. I felt that curiosity, satisfaction, so much love. All my piercing jewelry is implant grade titanium, besides the wooden plug for my lobes. I only ever have really gotten new plugs or septon rings, which hurt the worst. Most of Mel's free time is primping that beautiful hair of his. Actually, yeah, you know, I spend painstaking amounts of time putting those little rollers in my hair to make sure that I show up in stream with curly hair, right? Make sure, extra sure, that I look super dashing, that I have little springs that's attached to my head. That's where most of my time goes. Like, part of me feels like I'm not joking. Free time is a lie. Ain't no such thing. It's nice having you friends here, sending you blessings. The hermit life is a blessing. It is. And I'm really trying to lean into it at this point in my life, but I know it's not going to last. What's a culturally irrelevant TV show? I guess there is none, technically, right? But the way I think of it is like fractal based, right? How many people are choosing to expose themselves to a certain fractal? And then if a great span of, you know, humanity is exposing them to that fractal, surely it has some sort of cultural significance to our species. And then I'll try and watch that to melt into that fractal, to understand and to be able to resonate a little bit better. Video games these days, a lot of the time, are just super immersive stories being told in a very engaging format that you get to participate within. Exactly. I'm happy to hear you're playing them again. I feel like I've really went away from it, and I'm not doing it much, but I am allowing myself to, right? And I am finding enjoyment in it. And I feel like that's what was lost for a while, where I just couldn't enjoy it. I was here in the past, maybe about 2020. It's nice having you here now, Daniel. Sending you blessings, bro. Out of all of the piercings I've ever gotten, Lisa, the corset piercing I had done on my back for prom was the most brutal. Yeah, literally like hooks with loops and then material spun between them. That's so wild. I have a confession to make. I'm eating ice cream for breakfast. Get it, right? It's okay to eat ice cream for breakfast. Might not be okay to do it every day for the rest of our lives, but doing it today is not bad. I think the internet is back. Stream freezes up. Yeah, internet is not back. I'm just like mildly worried. I'm not worried, but I'm conscientious thereof that I don't have that much data left. So if I just suddenly disappear, that's probably why. Can you explain the concept of fractal resonance and its significance in complex systems? No. No, I can't. The way I think of it, at least, right, is I try to simplify it. You know, that's a good question that you're asking, Sparkle. But the way I try to kind of like simplify it is just in thinking of it from a perspective of complexity, right? Like I maybe like use the word fractal interchangeably for the word complexity. And that's technically incorrect, right? Because a fractal, technically, mathematically, is a reoccurring function. In other words, you can go deeper into the function and you'll find the same function that you found in the larger spectrum, right? And that is technically related, but I also see fractal as something that starts from a point and then complexifies for every iteration of itself, right? So again, let's take it from the movie or TV show perspective. If a bunch of people are choosing to see a certain movie, right, even though each and every single person is going to see that movie differently, the fact that a bunch of people saw that movie together as the collective humanity means that there is now a new set of information, a way of consideration that is now a part of the mind, right? And in this complex system we find ourselves in as human beings trying to be in a society, trying to at least understand or resonate or share things in common with, I feel is the interaction that that fractal has with these complex systems. Fractal resonance, right? And like that fractal resonance, I might be completely butchering what you're actually asking me, but it's like you literally resonating. In other words, maybe you both watched a movie, right? And then a person mentions this one part of the movie that was significant to them, and they felt like that was an important part of the movie. And you also had that same feeling and importance that you found in that part of the movie. And then upon sharing that, right, you had to first share the fact that you were both watching it at some point in your life. And then you had to come together again, right, fractal nature, a bunch of things, complex things had to happen for you to kind of like reach that point, both in person and in conversation. And then you get to resonate on that fractal with one another. Both of you being very complex systems, right? Hopes and dreams, you know, the food you eat, the way you treat your body, the way you show up in life, and then meeting one another in that way to kind of like share that kind of resonance with one another, I feel allows us to close the gap, right? To realize our unity essentially. Maybe that's the answer, or the conclusion. I had pizza for breakfast yesterday. Aunt B, back to school is hard. I just googled that Shan, and it's a big ouch for me. I bet it looked cool. You have a picture? I think she does still. Shanna, I have stretched my ears when I was young. I used to look like a pin cushion at one time. I had like 11 piercings in my face. They're all gone now, but you can see the remnants of Wild Joe. You know, it's like little spots of crazy that people don't know. Oh man, Shan, that's the one I wanted too, the corset. And hell yeah, on the good. I like to believe that the high quality jewelry metal makes us more powerful nodes of satellite projection. I mean, right, that's a part of the reason why I want titanium teeth. It's like they are technically a little bit more conductive, and there is magnetic waves happening all around us always, right? So maybe I'll become more powerful. I agree. You can see the remnants. Love is true. I do, Lisa. Hanging blinds is far away, and the worst household chore. Shit is awful. Sorry, bro. I can feel you struggling on that side. Man, our internet seems to be spazzing, dude. Why don't you pause and buy some data right now? There's no pausing, Joviv. Usually when I disconnect for a bit, right, there's like a few second gap before I can get back. There is no pausing. If I exit the stream and I spend more than 10 seconds away, it kills it. That's so awesome. I love piercings. I'm not sure why, but I've also been fascinated with them. Ashley, lovin's again to you. I think it's a matter of augmentation, right? It's like a thing that makes you unique. Your piercings can give you that sense of individuality. Daniel offering some wisdom as well, saying, God is infinite, so no matter where you are on the spectrum of closeness to or distance from the original source, there is an infinite amount of manifestation both above and below you. I always think of that when I listen to someone talking about fractals. Yeah, I feel like that's good, dude, right? And that what you mentioned, the way that that registers in my brain is seeing Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil? Right? The tree of life, literally, right? The branches extending into the heavens, the roots extending into hell, right? Like this all-encompassing tree that is fractal in nature, right? As above, so below. That is also fractal in nature in my mind. Very beautiful explanation, Daniel. I had a head full of dreadlocks and a face full of piercings. I was a bit of a wild one. I mean, I don't think you're any less wild. It's nice having you here, Brother Joe Schmo, as your wild self. My piercer friend did mine for free. It was the first corset he ever did. And also knew it wouldn't be permanent. I def think the same thing. With the titanium, it's okay. Blinds are hung, good. What, judge you? You're so cool. You're always been, and getting cooler by the moment. The more we get like Joe Schmo lore. I'm up there trying to drill the hole, but then the torque on the drill keeps messing me up, and I'm getting tired of holding my arms up. Just a nuance, y'all. Nuisance, y'all. I feel it. I think you'll look super cute with an earring, Mel. Yeah, I'm not getting earrings. Not for a sense of like pride or righteousness, just for the sake of convenience, right? Like I don't like having a body sometimes, right? The fact that I have to brush my teeth, I like brushing teeth, right? It's fun, but the fact that I have to, the fact that I have to try and like get my hair to look semi-representable, the fact that I have to trip out about how long ago I washed my hair and then think about when I'm supposed to do it again. Uh, the fact that I have to potentially, have to take out my earrings before I go to sleep, sanitize them. Nah, I don't know. No, too much effort for me right now. It's surely practical. You've got this, Dan. Absolutely. Dan, stop and invite one of your friends over for beer and pizza and let them help with the blinds. Good idea. That is why the pursuit of power is futile, and sages pursue awareness of love and the I am that is timeless and never dies. Exactly. Exactly, Daniel. That's the truth, right? That's how I've articulated it for myself as well. That there is no truth in power. Power, technically, is the ability to change things, right? That's what power is. Love is truth. It's fundamental, right? It doesn't have to change. It's not broken, right? If you want power, that means in your mind there is registering something as wrong, right? Something isn't as it's supposed to be, so I want the power to change it. But when you lean into love, you realize you are always exactly where you ought to be. I have always believed that this life thing is not a spectator sport. Gotta get in there if you really want to know about something. What does that plant taste like? Just go chew on it and find out.